Hey everybody, it's Jo Hutchinson from greatspirit.co.nz. Today is the 21st of February 2022 and I thought I would make this short video because I'm sure the message in here is going to resonate with some of you. Maybe not all, but I think for some. So what I wanted to share today was just the reflection that even though it's only the 21st of February and the new year was something like 6 weeks ago, I don't know how things are in your world, but in my world so much has happened in this short space of time. In many ways, in fact, January in itself wasn't a particularly full-on month, but I think these first 3 weeks of February, we've just seen so much movement. And so what I wanted to share today is that in these last 6 weeks, within my own family circle, I've had 2 members of my family diagnosed with terminal illnesses. Unfortunately, one of them has recently passed away, but also I have 2 really close friends who are experiencing the same thing within their families. And I was having this conversation yesterday with somebody, and I was just really amazed when I reflected later actually what I'm going through in my own world in terms of just helping people and supporting people through grief, supporting people through loss. Now, back in the day, I was a radiographer, which is a person that takes x-rays, and one of the pieces of work that we had to study back then was a lady called Elizabeth Kubler-Ross. She was a German doctor that studied people with terminal illnesses, and she wrote a book back in the 60s called, it was on death and dying or something like that. And in that book, she talks about the 5 stages of grief, which some people have gone on to sort of explore a little bit further than there. But in essence, the 5 stages that she talks about is the first one is the shock and denial, which is the first stage. It's like, oh wow, I can't believe this is happening. Surely this isn't happening, that kind of thing. Then the second stage that we go to is anger. So we can be very angry at why this is happening. And then the third stage is bargaining. It's kind of like we're looking for a way out. How do we get out of this? What is it we can do to get out of it? And then the fourth one is really where we bottom out into a sense of depression, which is where we kind of actually really realize the finality of the situation that we are in. And then lastly is the next phase. We come back out of it and we start to see the future in a new way, in a new light, and that's where we have acceptance. So I was just literally thinking about these 5 stages yesterday, because this model in particular is one I go back to not only when we're going through a significant grief and the loss of life, but any significant change. So that could be where you lose your house, whether you lose a pet, if you lose your job or a close relationship ends, like divorce, or you break up. Any significant thing like that that has a sense of loss to it, we often go in and out of these stages. Now, most people think the stages are quite linear, and the model itself does appear to be quite linear, but of course we're human beings and we don't really work in a linear mode. We can jump in and out of any stage at any phase, but we can also get stuck in different phases as well. And so I just thought I would share it with you, particularly if it's relevant for any significant change that you might be going through, where you are starting to feel those emotions of grief. It could be a really useful model to go and research and look up a little bit further, understand how it works so that you can see where you're at, and also you can see how to move yourself through that process, because it is a process. We move in and out of it. So I thought that would be really helpful. And then the second thing that I wanted to share, which just kind of came to me this morning when I again was just thinking of tools to help people, and it was the book by Bronnie Ware. I think she's an English nurse, or certainly was an English lady working with people, taking care of them in terminal care, and she wrote The 5 Regrets of Dying. And this again was just so relevant to a conversation I was having yesterday. So I was going to share these with you. So the 5 regrets of the dying. Number 1, I wish I had the courage to live a life true to myself, not the life others expected of me. Number 2, I wish I hadn't worked so hard. Number 3, I wish I had the courage to express my feelings. Number 4, I wish I had stayed in touch with my friends. And number 5, I wish I had let myself be happier. And so I thought it was really powerful to share this with you today, because when I read The 5 Regrets of Dying, and when I think of Elizabeth Kubler-Ross's work, there's such richness in these words and in these tools to help us with any significant change that we're going through, or even helping someone else go through some form of significant change at the moment. And it really reminded me that, you know, in life we just get so caught up on so many things. We worry, about so much stuff, or we get focused on things that really don't really matter in the big scheme of things. And sometimes I think when we have moments like this, when we're losing loved ones in our lives, or there's significant change in our lives, it really helps us to remember what is important and what it is that we truly value, and that life is meant to be enjoyed. And the need to actually make sure that we are focused on the things that really matter, focused on the things that matter to us the most. Life is not guaranteed, and life is not permanent, and so every day life is changing in some form, especially looking outside the window in nature. We see the creation cycle of birth, death, and regeneration happening all the time. So I kind of get left with thinking of a couple of questions, and that is like, there are a lot of things in life that really don't matter. So what is it in your life now that you could let go of that really is important in the big scheme of things? And number two, how would you live your life if you knew you only had 6 more months to live? How would that change your life? What would you do differently? And can you do that now? Can you apply some of those insights into your life right now? So I'm sharing this with you. I hope it's helpful. I really want you to live your best life ever, and also to have some tools to help you through any significant change that you might be going through, or anybody that you love might be going through as well. Reach out if you have any questions, leave any comments below, and I look forward to talking with you again soon. Thank you.